Alright, what's up guys? VV back with another video. Back with another Red Yellow Sabo video at that. It's been a while since I put one of these out. I think this has been the longest I've gone without putting out a Red Yellow Sabo video in maybe ever since I started covering the leader. So yeah, we're going to be diving into some Red Yellow Sabo action today. We got some pretty cool news to go along with it. We'll talk about it more when we get to it, but there was a list that got top 32 at a 1,000 player tournament for Red Yellow Sabo, and we'll be checking that out, of course, in today's video. So let me go ahead and break everything down for you guys so you know what you're getting into. First things first, we're gonna check out that deck list first. They got I believe it was 19th place at a 1,024 player tournament. I think it was the Carta Magica tournament that happened just recently over the weekend. That's, you know, first order of business is checking that out. After that, we're going to head over to the deck list because we're going to be checking out some games on the sim today. We're going to be checking out the deck list I'm going to be running in today's video. After that, we're going to go over about, I was going to say 5 games, but I believe it's 7 games we're going to be going over today on the sim using my list, and then we'll wrap things up after that, you know, go over the deck list and all that good stuff, okay? So you know what you're getting into. I'll have everything time-stamped in the general description, and I'll have all relevant deck lists and links and stuff like that in the comments section below. If you guys have any comments, questions, or suggestions, please do not hesitate to put those down in the comments section below, or hop on the VV Theory Discord. Link is in the channel description. Now, let's do this, guys. Let's get straight into it. And one thing I do want to mention while I'm getting this all set up is we will be, let me go over to here. There we go. Get this leader thing off the screen. We will be streaming tonight. That's what I was going to say is we do stream here on YouTube every Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday from 9 p.m. Eastern to 12 a.m. Okay, so be sure to come hang out and check that out, you know, see what you think about it. And I try to answer the chat as much as I can, okay? It ends up being a really good time. Okay, so now let's go ahead and check out this deck list here. Let me go full screen. Whoops, I'm not on the right screen here. There we go. Let's go full screen over here. So this is over on eggmanevents.com. I believe that's what it is. Let me make sure I didn't just butcher that. Yeah, eggmanevents.com, and I will link this. Tournament results here, this page, in the general description as well, or not in the comment section rather. Excuse me, not the general description. But check this out, guys. This was a 1,000 player tournament. The Carta Magica. It was on May 10th. 10 rounds of Swiss, best of 1. You know, April 1st restrictions in effect, of course. And check this out. There was a Dofi that won this, and then a lot of stuff in the top here. Look, so blue decks are still doing fine. Red decks, green/purple. We'll even count Reiju as purple, right? So red, blue, green, purple, all being represented pretty well. Black is still in there with Blackbeard, and then yellow, well represented by Red Yellow Sabo, of course. But you know, this is definitely a very hybrid red and yellow list. Let's just round off the list here. So it does look like yellow is still struggling the most. That's just a quick aside. Yellow is kind of struggling at the moment right now in the meta, but I would say all other deck lists are doing very well. Okay, so Red Yellow Sabo here. It was the only one, of course, to make into the top 32, and I wish we had a full breakdown on how many actually signed up for the tournament, because this is something I always try to mention. You know, people talk about how, like, yeah, well, look, oh, look, Doflamingo won again or something like that, right? Or, oh, look, Shanks is topping, or whatever the case might be. It's like, well, yeah, let me just draw your attention to this number right here. Representation is everything in a big tournament. You're going through 10, this was a 10-round Swiss best of 1. So in other words, Red Yellow Sabo could have maybe won this tournament if there were enough of them. And in this case, there were 100 Doflamingos, 150, I'm just going to call it 150, Marshall D. Teaches and Purple Luffy, and then there were over 200 Shanks. So what do you expect? Of course, yes, look at the top 4 here. It's pretty much everything you said, but Zoro popping in here. Let me see if it shows how many Zoro there were. Well, there were about 45, so not too surprising. 40 Jory Bonnie. Were there? Let me see if there were any in the actual top 30. I don't think there was. Yeah, so Jory Bonnie did not make it. The only green representation we even see on this list is from 2 different Lim decks. And look at this, guys. Lim was one of the lesser represented leaders on this list, and it still was able to break into the top 5 and also the top 10. So really good stuff there from Green, Purple, Lim. And don't worry, we're going to look at the Red Yellow Sabo list in just a minute, but let me wrap this thought up, this idea. Guys, representation is everything in these big tournaments. So imagine if there was only a single Red Yellow Sabo player that played in this tournament, and this was their placing right here. 19th place. That is absolutely incredible. So big shout out to, their name is over here on the right, Mika Pika. That's the name we're going with. You love to see it. Now let's go ahead and check out this list. So first things first, we're going to go through the card count, and then we're going to break down the deck list after that. So it looks like they're running 3 of the Dawn Reassignment Nami, 4 of the Searcher Garp, 4 2K Counter Hiyori, 4 of the 2-cost Ace, 4 of the 2-cost Luffy, 4 2K Counter Koala, 4 Emporio Ivankov, that's very interesting. We'll talk more about that in a minute. 2 Kid and Killer, great finisher, 4 Cracker, 3 Kikinojo, and then 3 Satori, 4 of the 5-cost ST21 Rush Luffy, 1 of the ST01 Unblockable Luffy, 2 Port Gosti Ace, the one that can prevent removal once per turn, and then 4 of the Rush Ace. So guys, we got some pretty interesting stuff going on here. Everything, actually, let me say this. It looks like we have a core package now for Red Yellow Sabo that is just consistently, you know, it's just consistent. That's the best way to say it. It is like the Garp package with, so you're running the Goa package with 8 of the 2-cost, you know, Ace and Luffy in this case. And then it looks like they're running 8, 10, 11 of the 5-cost options for Ace and Luffy. So that's 8 of the 2-cost characters, and then 11 of the 5-cost characters, and then 4 of the Searchers, of course. So that ends up being like that whole package there. So it's 11 plus 8 is 19, plus 4 is 23. It's really like this 23 card package that you can just start off your deck building process with and go from there. Okay, now after that, the things that are most interesting to me, so let me say this. Kazuki Hiyori is just a utility 2K counter spot. That will probably become Zeus as soon as we get a hold of that in OP11. Excuse me. Excuse me. And even the Nami, I would say 3 to 4 of the 1-cost Nami. That's pretty standard now from what I've seen in all the different Red Yellow Sabo deck lists, especially going into OP11. However, the thing that's most interesting to me is the Emporio Ivankov, the Kikinojo, and the Charlotte Cracker. Those are out of nowhere for me. Let me zoom in on this for people who don't know what this is. Emporio Ivankov came out in ST13. It came out with the Three Brothers package. It's a 3-cost 4,000 power 1K counter blocker that has on play you may trash the top or bottom card of your life and then reveal 1-cost 5 character from your hand, then place it face down on top of your life. It's a cool card for setting up your 5-cost characters, obviously, but I always couldn't stand the fact that you had to trash a life card for the effect. Very frustrating. I think they were trying to accommodate to Black Yellow Luffy a little too much with that card, and with other cards like it, like 5-cost Sabo and stuff like that. But whatever, who knows? Maybe power creep has made the card less, you know, make it seem less powerful than it actually is. But the Emporio Ivankov, very interesting. They're running this as a 4 of. Like, they want to see this card, whoever was running this list. Excuse me. Very solid. Now, Kid and Killer is pretty standard, and even Satori is pretty standard. It's just there's 2 other options you can really consider with Satori, and that is the 2K counter, you know, Frankie, and the 2K counter Kuma. Those are the other options that would typically be in this spot, but a lot of people like Satori because it will always hit the board every time. It has 100% accuracy in that regard, 100% precision whenever it gets hit from your life. It doesn't matter what life your opponent's at. It doesn't matter what life you're at. It just comes into play. You just have to trash a card to get the effect off. And then also on top of that, you have a 5-cost body on the board that can now be bounced back by Trafalgar Law if you're going against a Blue Doflamingo matchup. So this card is excellent. It's outstanding. I do understand still running this card over the Frankie or over Kuma. Okay? Koala as well. This is another card that's very standard in Red Yellow Sabo. It's such an incredible effect. It combos very nicely with red removal, even though this list is not running red removal, but it does also help us go into the board when we need to. You know, we'll pay 2, we'll minus 3,000 power a character for the turn, and then we can attack everything into it if we have to. Great utility 2K counter. Now, the other cards we have to talk about are Charlotte Cracker and Kikinojo. This is a card a lot of people were saying it's basically the kind of trigger that you can get that can almost just single-handedly win you games against like the 5-life matchups. Because if they attack into you and this is your top life card or maybe your second life card, whatever, and you get into play early, that double attack, it practically time warps you a turn as far as aggression goes because you drop them from 5 life to to 3 life, or from 4 life to 2 life. And that's a very, very big deal. And now you're pushing this card back into life potentially if you need to. It's a 1k counter at worst in your hand. You know, it really doesn't have a huge downside, and it just has so much upside. The high roll potential for a card like this in the deck, and the same thing with Kikanojo, let's go to that one now. The high roll potential for these cards is astronomical. They can kind of just like single-handedly win you games in certain situations. So I definitely get why they're running these cards, but I did not expect to see this in the Red Yellow Sabo package, because I feel like, so there's 2 other options I feel like that can go in these trigger spots here, and it's actually the 3-cost 3,000 power Sanji, that's a 6,000 power on your opponent's turn, the one that looks like Nami, right? The SR from OP10. That started taking the place of Charlotte Cracker and Kikanojo from what I saw. And then also after that, maybe even like, well, I don't know. The other one's not as obvious, I'm going to be honest. But that was typically what I was seeing people replace these other really powerful triggers with, because they're a slightly more consistent as far as like, okay, turn 1, we slam down Garp, and then turn 2, they're trying to slam down Ivankov, whereas like I would be trying to slam down the 3-cost Sanji. And you guys are going to see that in today's video, actually. But hey, this list worked. I'm not trying to throw any shade, of course. This list, it looks very solid, I have to say. Very strong list. The core is all there. It all makes sense to me. Let me say it like this. I'm just very surprised to see this Emporio Ivankov in the list over something like the 3-cost Sanji. The 3-cost, it's like a 3-cost 6,000 power Sanji with the on KO to draw a card. But hey, like I said, this list got the job done. They got top 32. They got 19th place in a 1,000 player tournament. You love to see it. Congratulations to this player. I don't know who they are. And hey, you know, if whoever piloted this deck, by all means, say something in the comments section below, or hop on the Discord, hop on the VV Theory Discord. We'd love to see what you have to say about the list, like, you know, some of the thoughts, the ideas behind everything. And hey, if you could do a match breakdown, like for the whole tournament for us, we'd love to see that too. Okay, I'm done with this one. Let's move on to the list that I will be running today. But again, big congratulations to, what was their name? Mika Pika. Okay, love that name. Big congratulations to them on getting a top 32 placement with Red Yellow Sabo. Okay, you love to see it. Awesome. Just need more people playing it, guys. We really just need more people playing Red Yellow Sabo. Okay, this was the other 4-cost I was thinking of. I was going to say, I know there's a card that I'm running in the place of what they are, because notice my list is very similar to theirs, to the list we just looked at, Mika Pika's list there, but I'm running 4 Karasu instead of 4 Crackers, and 4 Sanji instead of 3 Kikanojo. So I'm trying to be like a little bit more aggressive on curve, going first or going second. That was kind of my thought process there. But again, it's not to say that Cracker's a bad card or anything like that, just that I was approaching it from a slightly different angle. Okay, now let's go ahead and break down my list real quick. And let me put the leader on the screen here for any newer players who do not know what Red Yellow Sabo does. And by the way, for the newer players out there who are very interested in trying out Red Yellow Sabo and giving it a go, because it's a very fun deck, let me tell you right now, I'm going to have in the comments section an entire playlist of about 40 hours worth of Red Yellow Sabo content, okay? So be sure to check that out if you're a newer player. But this is the leader, 5,000 power, 4 life, Dressrosa and Revo Army, red yellow, with an effect of Dawn ×1, activate main once per turn. Add one of your cost 3 or higher characters, okay, with power 7,000 or more to the top of your life face up. Then give up to one of your characters plus 2,000 power until the start of your next turn. So what you're doing is you're taking a character from the board that has 7,000 power or more, excuse me, with a cost of 3 or more. You're pushing him into your life. So you're losing a character on the board, but you're gaining a life in the process, and then you're buffing one of your characters by 2,000 power until the start of your next turn. Okay, so it does have like a, you know, it is a very powerful effect, but it's a little bit technical to get used to. Okay, so there's the leader. I'm going to run through the list real quick, and we're going to talk about it. And again, notice my list is going to be very similar to what we just saw there, and I had no idea, but I'm building it in a slightly different direction. So I'm running 2 Kid and Killer, 4 Karasu, 2 Koala, 4 Sanji, 2 Chopper, 4 of the Dawn Reassignment Nami, 2 of the Unblockable Luffy, 4 of the ST21 Rush Luffy, 4 2K Counter Flampe, 3 Frankie and 3 Kuma, 4 2-cost Ace, 4 of the Rush Ace, 4 of the Searcher Garp, and 4 of the 2-cost Luffy. Now, the big difference that you're going to see in my list versus what we just saw is I'm only running 10 of the 5-cost cards, whereas they were running 11. They were running 1 Luffy, but they were running 2 of the 5-cost red ace. This one right here. Let me type in ace real quick. Go to red. This ace right here. I'm not running any of these. I don't think it's a bad card, by the way. It's a great card to play out on curve, especially against decks that have high removal. But I personally am not a huge fan of the card, but I could see why people would run it. And then the other major difference is I'm running I'm running Flampe over Hiyori. That's just a preference thing. But I will say that Hiyori does have advantages over Flampe. Like, Flampe has advantages over Hiyori, and Hiyori has advantages over Flampe. Hiyori can set your top card to a 5-cost character, and then you can just slam it down from there with your 2-cost counterparts, right? That's kind of the main idea with Hiyori. Whereas Flampe, I'm just using as like a turn 1 searcher. If I have Flampe in my opening hand, I'm probably using that in the place of Garp if I don't have one. Because it's like, okay, I'm just going to pay 1 to play out this character, take a life card to draw a card, and draw a card from the top of my deck. I just drew 2 cards for 1. And I'm going to go from there. Now after that, my Flampe is pretty much used up because unlike with like blue yellow ace, I can't return Flampe to my hand. There is no way for me to do that in this deck. So after I use it, it's gone for the game. That card's gone. But that's okay. We can buff it with the leader effect and stuff like that, and swing it to smaller targets if we need to. But the idea is I'm going to pay 1 to draw 2 cards, and I'm going to go down in life, so that way it turns on my Portgost the Aces effect sooner. And the other thing, too, is I'm not running... So notice this real quick. I'm running 4 plus 6 is 10, plus 4 is 14. I'm running 14 2K counters, whereas I think the other list was running... I think it was 4, 8, 11. I think they might have only been running 11 2K counters. Let me check real quick, guys. I do want to just make sure. Yeah, so for 2K counters, it looks like they were running... 11. Yeah, it was 11 because it was 3 Satori, and then they had 4 Hiyori and 4 Koala. I'm running slightly different. I'm running this as a blocker, whereas they're running straight up, they're just straight up running the 3-cost Ivankov as their blocker. So I'm running the Tony Chopper because it's a 2K counter and a blocker, but it's a 4-cost versus a 3-cost, and the Ivankov has more utility in terms of being able to interact with your life. So I get why they're running the Ivankov. I definitely get that. But I do still prefer having slightly more 2K counters, especially the high utility ones. And one more thing I do want to mention too, while we were talking about Flampe, I think very soon this card, or maybe one of these other 2K counters, very soon these cards are going to be like, they're going to be replaced with the Zeus. Let me bring up Zeus on the screen for those who don't know what I'm talking about. This is coming out in OP11. It's a 2-cost, 2,000 power 2K counter Big Mom Pirates card called Zeus, and it has on play, add 1 card from the top or bottom of your life cards to your hand, and then you're going to KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 5 or less. So it's meant to just, play out early just like Flampe would, or just like Hiyori would, to set up later, for either for that turn or for later, depending. Like Hiyori sets up for that turn usually, and Flampe is just drawing you cards for later. Well, Zeus just comes into play and says, okay, KO your 5-cost or lower character, and then I draw a card from the top of my life. I'm going down in life, which is very important for turning on your ace as soon as possible, and then you can go from there. So that's really about it. Unfortunately, it's not a 3-cost card. Then it would be really crazy. And I know some people are like, yeah, but why would you want to be 3-cost when it's just 2? It's even cheaper. Yeah, that's true. I do like it at 2 cost as well. But if it was a 3-cost card, oh man, the amount of abuse I'd be able to do with something like that, it would just be great. No, I'm just kidding. But seriously, this is still a very strong card we're going to be using. It's the same idea that we've always had with Koala, where it's like, I wish I could fit, I wish this was a 3-cost card instead of a 2-cost card. And then, hey, at that point, make it do minus 4,000 power. That'd be fine, because I just want to be able to push it back into my life after I'm done using it on the field. But that's okay. Not a big deal. Overall, the list, though, I think is pretty much done, guys. What you're seeing, like, this is Red Yellow Sabo. What you're seeing on the screen here, this is Red Yellow Sabo. The flexible spots are the 2K counters. Build those however you want to. And then you have a few other utility spots in the form of this Karasu, this Sanji, and even this Nami. You can push and pull the amount of... well, first of all, the amount of 2K counters you're running. I'm running 14, so you can drop that number down between, like, I would say between 9 and 13 is probably where most people will play, or 9 and 12 is where most people will play 2K counters. I've been enjoying more than that, like running more than that lately. Running, you know, for anyone who's seen my blue yellow ace video, I'm stuttering all over myself, guys. Y'all bear with me. I'm just so excited. Anyone who's seen my my blue yellow ace video, you would know I'm starting to really favor a high 2K counter count. There were 17 in that deck in my blue yellow ace deck, and I'm running 14 in red yellow Sabo. I'm starting to really favor running the higher 2K counter amount, and then just going up as much utility as possible with those. But if you're not interested in running that many 2K counters, I understand. You can drop down to probably somewhere between like 8 to 10. You know, 8 to 10 would be the lowest I'd go in a deck right now, and then as high as like 12 to 14, like what I'm running. So that's kind of what I prefer. But other than that, the list is pretty straightforward. I think you run around 10 of whatever 5-cost targets you want to run, you know, of your choice, and then about 12 of the little, you know, the Garp plus the 2-cost counterparts, right? So that's going to be about 12 cards in the deck is your 4 ace, your 4 Luffy, and your 4 Garp. That's 12 cards taken care of right away. And then I'd run about 10 to 12 of the 5-cost targets in the deck as well. That ends up being about half the deck, and then you build your 2K counter package to your liking, and then you have a few flexible spots in here. I always prefer running 2 Kid and Killers, just like the person who got the top 32. I think this is like one of the best finishers in the game for Sabo, and it has so much synergy being a 4-cost 7K when it attacks, when they're at 2 or less life. I can put that right back into life for 1 Dawn. So you love to see that. I really do like the Karasu here in the Sanji. I think it's really good for the curve. It can help us knock down the power of leaders and stuff like that, and go from there. But this is kind of where this is red yellow Sabo though, guys. That's what I was trying to say. In a very clumsy way, this is now red yellow Sabo. If you're trying to build the deck, you can just move around these numbers how you want to. Like I said, let me just say it like this. About 10 to 12 of the 1 and 2-cost package for Garp. About 10 to 12 of the 5-cost package with Ace and, you know, Ace and Luffy. And then your 2K counter package, build it however you want to, between 10, I would say between 10 and 15 2K counters. Yes, as high as 15, guys, because these 2K counters, you want to play these out. Like the Koala, the Chopper, and even Frankie or Kuma. You want to play those out as quickly as you can. And then after that, you've got about 10 flexible spots with Kid and Killer, Karasu, and Sanji here, where I have these. You can put anything else in there that you want to, whether it be like, you know, whether it be the Kikinojo or the Cracker, like what we saw in the top 32 list, or, you know, Karasu and Sanji, like you see with my list. You can kind of build that however you want to. Okay, so really good stuff. Good to see that we have a formula now for how to build red yellow Sabo. It seems like the deck has finally been figured out. Now, that's not to say you can't still run the Trigger Rush aggro version of the deck, okay? That is still a very possible, you know, that is still a very solid deck to run. You can run that for sure, and I think that soon, now that this has been pretty figured out, I am going to start tampering with a more control style, like a more control-heavy list in the future, okay? All right, so that's it for that. Let's go ahead and hop into some games on the sim, guys. We got quite a few games to go over on the sim. First one up here, hang on, I got to bring it up like this today. Let me go full screen. Let me move the camera over to here. The first game up we have against Blackbeard. Okay, so volume is off. Speed is on 2x. And here we go. Guys, red yellow Sabo is actually very strong right now. And I think you're going to see that in today's video. And I'll tell you what else is really nice is these games are fast. You guys, I think there's 1 or 2 slower games in here. But I got 7 games lined up for today's video. And what is taking so long? Volume is off. I do got the speed on 2x. Yep, we're good to go. Now, here's the funny part. The Goa Kingdom version is actually much weaker into Teach than the Trigger Rush aggro version is. But I think that the Trigger Rush aggro version is a little more explosive and has a higher top end. Let me say, how do you say it? Like, it has a chance to have a higher, like, high roll, if that makes sense. Okay. Just waiting for this Marshall D Teach player. We are on 2x speed. They're just taking a little bit of time to figure out what they want to do for the turn. Looks like they just forgot to push their Dawn out, so all that was. And here we go. They're going to swing for 5. We're going to take that very aggressively. And I will tell you right now, guys, that 5-cost ace we have is absolutely terrible against Blackbeard. I don't know why we didn't swing first with our leader. Not sure what's going on there. Oh, okay, because I wanted to assign Dawn there. Okay, it makes sense now. So maybe I still should have swung with the leader first, though. Like, after playing out the Luffy, use the Nami to attach a Dawn, get that over with, swing for 6. However, if they get something like a Shigan Finger Pistol, you're going to lose your character. So you do have to be careful playing around the Blackbeard triggers. They're going to swing for 6 here. I'm going to take that. Obviously, I want my card back. They're going to trash Liberation to turn on to use their leader effect to turn off my own plays. And look at my hand, guys. 3 aces. That is the absolute worst card you can draw into Blackbeard, is that 5-cost ace. That's the worst card in the deck. Like, I would literally rather play out a Karasu here so that I can, like, attack into them next turn and drop their power level down, or even just use it in hands of 1k counter. So we're smashing into their board here. We want to get rid of this Burgess to the best of our ability. We're not really in a rush here to like, you know, to beat them down. I guess we could have. I will say, there is an argument that we could have just gone everything at face here. I'd rather get that card off the board. We're going to swing it for 8. Okay, any trigger? No trigger. Love to see it. And now it's my opponent's turn. So we do have a 6,000 power body on the board here. We're a 7,000 power leader this turn, so they can't even attack into us unless they want to invest on. They're going to play out Lafitte here. They're going to do some searching. What did they get? They're trashing cards from hand. They're definitely going to try to get rid of this Luffy this turn, if I had to guess. Okay, I guess they are searching desperately for what they need here. They play out another Lafitte. Again, searching. They're going to swing for what? They have to invest. They're going to swing 6 into 8. We're going to 2k, 1k to get out of that. Excuse me, they're going to swing 8 into 6 is what I meant to say. And here we go. Now we can start attacking into their board. They let that card go. We are actually going to swing with the Nami here. So pause. Sequencing is very important. I have to play out a character for the turn, guys, if I want to be able to use my Luffy's when attacking effect. Okay? All right, here we go. We're going to swing 5 into 1, get this card out of here. I just want to get the board back at this point. I need to start going for their board a little bit here. So let's see what we choose to do. Let's see what we choose to do. I think I was thinking about playing out a ace here, and I do like that. Yeah, get some value here. We're gonna swing in for 7 into that, and they give me I swing 7 into 5. They give me a 2k, 1k. We're gonna let them have the Van Augur here because I can counter out of it if I need to, because I know they're trying to drop down Blackbeard, right? Like, I know that's the intent. They use the Karasu on my they used the Karasu on my the Martial D Teach effect on my Karasu. That was very interesting. All right, here we go. So now we're going to start poking here. They have 1 card left in hand. We're going to go 7 into 6. Does he want to try to save that? I seriously doubt it. I wish he would. Okay, we'll give a Dawn. We'll swing 6. I forgot to play something out, so I couldn't actually use my Luffy's effect here. We're going to swing for 5. Let's see if they want to take a life here. They choose not to. That's fine with me. We're going to slam down double Port Gosti Ace, and we're going to try and wrap this game up next turn. Okay? So remember, they can't really swing with Teach unless they play another one or they won't have a blocker, right? That's the problem. They're going to 12 into 6. That's fine with me. They play out the Martial D Teach, locking down the cross, so they go into 5. We take it, and here we go. How are they going to get out of this right here? The answer is they're going to need triggers. We're going to swing for 5. What do they get? Of course, they get a trigger every time without fail. Okay, well, now we have to do things a little bit differently. Now we're going to have to change the direction of the game. We'll go 12 into 12. That card's gone. We'll send it to life, and we'll go next turn. So you see what happens there, guys? We have to just push this card. Honestly, I think I should just pass. I don't think I should swing at all. I guess I could swing for 12. We're going to play out the Nami here. We'll put that on. Okay, sure. We swing for 13, so now they have to take it. They can't just get the free block off. And, yeah, so at this point, they're going to have to do something. We have the unblockable Luffy in hand. That's why I was swinging. I already have an unblockable Luffy in my hand. They play out another Teach. Now I know the game is over. How do I know the game is over, guys? Pop quiz. I'm not going to pause it, but how do I know the game's over? Because, okay, well, because they left. That's why. No, but seriously, I have... Okay, number 1, I can literally just swing for 5 3 times on the board and the game's over. That would be game over there. But no, I have an unblockable Luffy in my hand, so I can literally just put 2 Dawn on him and swing through for lethal, and that's that. So, good game to my opponent. Red Yellow Sabo is very strong into Blackbeard, even when they get all those ridiculous triggers, like they were getting, like Shigan Finger Pistol, and like, you know, I bid 300 million berries or whatever it's called. They have a few triggers that can really wreck our board. However... even with those, Red Yellow Sabo very favored into Blackbeard. Okay, next up we got a game versus Purple Black Luffy. Okay, we got a pretty random game here. Let me go speed 2x, volumes off. Here we go. And they're going to go first, which I think they do prefer. And I think we chose to go second, by the way. We did give them first. We're going to play out Garp and do some searching. We're going to play out the Flampe and do some drawing. And here we go. They're going to play out the Zoro right on curve. That's perfect for them. We are going to 2k counter out of this one because next turn might get a little bit ugly. Next turn might get a little bit hairy, and we're only on 4 Dawn. So here we go. I think we're going to play out the Nami. We'll attach a Dawn to our leader. Oh, excuse me. We're actually going to swing it with Garp here. I do like that. We'll swing 5, swing 6. We'll get some cards out of hand or get some cards out of life. All right. Swing 5, swing 6. They give us a 2k counter. We'll take it, and it's their turn. 2k into 2k. We're not trying to save the Garp. We have no reason to do that. Hey, it looks like Flampe might be able to attack this next turn, right? Adjust my seat real quick. It looks like, yeah, it looks like Flampe might be able to attack into that little 2K next turn. We'll see what happens. Okay, so they swing in for 7. They swing in for 8. We're going to probably take both of these. Yeah, we'll take both of these, and we'll just go for some aggression this turn, right? We'll go for some aggression. All right, we'll swing 7 into 5. Let's see what he chooses to do here. I don't think it would be wise to counter out of this because I do have another 7K attack in. Watch this. We'll go 3 into 2. Let's see if he saves it. Now we use the Nami. We're swinging 7 into face. He's down to 2 life. We're up to 2 life, right? We went down to 1 life, back up to 2 life, and let's see what our opponent wants to do now. They're in a tough spot. Like, they need to play something big here, I feel like. And they did do a search earlier for the 5-cost Sanji, but I have nothing on the board that matters. I have nothing on the board that matters. Okay, so here we go. They're going to swing for 7. We're going to take that. They're going to play out maybe a 5 or 6 Dawn character here. I think they play out the 6-cost Secret Luffy, if I remember correctly. Nice. That is really cool. Excuse me. So that's a really cool card, that Luffy. The 6-cost 7K, but we're going to attack in for 7. They give us a 2K, 1K, and we're just going to keep slowing this game down. Now that they protected their character, we're probably going to do things a little bit differently now. We're actually going to push this card back to life. We'll plus 2,000 to the Flampe with the leader effect. We're going to play out the Luffy, and now I think we should go for the board. Okay, just kidding. We're going to go for face. What am I talking about? Like I have any idea what I'm talking about here, guys. We're going everything at face and saying, hey, you're going to have to, so yeah, you're going to have to take us out this turn, bud. We have 2, 4, 6, 7K counter in hand and 1 life, and we're at 7,000 power. I think we're going to be just fine. It was a little bit risky, though. I'm not going to lie. That was a little risky. Okay, 9K. We do have to get out of this because they still have so much Dawn left. They can load everything on their leader, and I don't quite have enough to get out of that. So we have to trash a card with their effect from the character there, and now we're going to do a 2K, 1K to get out of that, and now we still have 4K left. Okay, they're going to attack in. I'm trying to do the math here. They can swing for 11, so I can't quite get out of that, so I have to give them a 1K counter. And now they're going to play out the Sanji, and I think now we're just going to play out Ace here and just start ripping face. Ace is a monster when you can actually use the on play effect, you know. Not against Blackbeard. Against Blackbeard, Ace is the worst card you could draw. However, against everything else, and when you're at 2 or less life, Ace rips, guys. It absolutely rips. We'll play out the other Ace here. We're going to swing for, I think it's 9 and 9 is what we end up doing here. Yep, so swing in for 9, and then we're going to swing in for 9 more. Does he have it? You either got it or you don't. It's highly unlikely, Pauls. He doesn't have a Dawn open for Gum Gum Giant. He didn't have one anyway, and he only had 2 1Ks in hand. Because remember, we were hitting him pretty hard earlier, so he was losing a lot of counter power from that. All right, next game, we got a game versus Green Purple Luffy. If you're wondering how Red Yellow Sabo does against Green Purple Luffy and Blue Purple Luffy, the answer is very good. Okay, the Goa Kingdom version of Red Yellow Sabo does very well into Green Purple Luffy and Blue Purple Luffy. It's just a solid deck, guys. We're going to play out the Garp to do some searching. We're going to play out the Flampe to draw some cards. I probably should have done it in the opposite order, but that's okay. And then they're going to swing for 5 and swing for 5. We'll 1K counter out of 1. We'll probably take the other. Yeah. Say, am I about to counter? Did I play this game? I confused myself there. All right, we're going to swing for 6 here. We're going to slam down the Sanji and say go. Seems good. We're at 2 life. They probably think they're in a very good position, but we're actually right where we want to be right now. We'll take this down to 2 life, down to 1 life if we have to. They'll swing for 7. Yep. Looks like I might counter out of this one because it is early in the game. Just kidding. Gotcha. I got y'all, guys, didn't I? I got y'all. No, we're not counting out of nothing. We'll counter out of nothing. Out of absolutely nothing, right? We're swinging for 6. We're swinging for 7. We're swinging for 8. That's a 5K now. Now I can defend the Sanji a little bit better. So watch what I do here. I kind of play some mind games with him, and it saves me a life, and it lets me keep my Ace right where I want it. Okay, we'll 2K counter out of that. Now they'll smash into it for 7, but then watch what they play out. It was like, ah, dang it, he foiled my plans. So I do have to know, I end up counting out of this, guys, because watch this. You want to see, whenever I say that Red Yellow Sabo is explosive, this is what I mean. They're at 2 life. They're a 6,000 power leader. I have to do the math just right here. I think I can swing 8, 8, and 9, I think is what it is. Let's see what happens here. Push this card back, plus 2 there. We'll play out the Ace. We'll swing in for 8 more. I think I want to get both of these through if I can. We'll swing in for 9, and then we're going to smash in for 10. They used, I don't know what that was for. They didn't have anything, though. They had a 1K and a 1K in hand. They were bricked, but remember, guys, look how aggressive they were. I assumed they had to have some form of, like, you know, I don't know. I guess you know, you could say I got lucky there by them not having any, like not having enough counter in hand. But at the same time, look at what their board looks like. I mean, they were pretty lucky with that board. It's why I had to go all in. Their board was absolutely disgusting. And by the way, the game's not just over next turn, right? The game's not just over next turn, because what they would have to do is, like, I'm a 9,000 power leader, okay? I'm a 9,000 power leader. So they have to invest 2 Dawn on Sanji and Pudding to get 1 swing through, 2 Dawn on the next one, so that's 4 Dawn right away. Then, I don't know, at that point, do something. I mean, they probably still could have won, I'm not going to lie, because that'd be 2 cards out of my hand, and then they'll be able to swing twice with the Monkey D. Luffy. But hopefully you guys understand what I'm trying to say, is it's not just over on the spot. They would have to do things correctly after that, but it didn't matter. They didn't have enough counter power, so they just got run over. We'll take it every single time. Okay. Next up, we have another game of, we have a game of Red Yellow Sabo versus Vegapunk. This is another one, guys. I mean, sometimes you just have to do some limit testing, and that's kind of what the whole idea was, because I could have done other plays last turn and try to go for their board and stuff like that, getting rid of the Luffy and going to 9,000 instead. Like, there was definitely other things I could have done, but watch this, guys. This is another game of, I'm just going to give you a spoiler, it's a very fast game, because I just decide, okay, I'm just going to put the pedal to the metal and show you how explosive Red Yellow Sabo can be. Okay, they get double Atlas, by the way. That's a pretty good start. I'm going to swing for 5. They're going to take... no trigger, okay? We're not upset about that. We're going to play out double 2 costs here and set up for next turn. We're just going to set up for next turn. All they can do is swing twice this turn, so we're not too worried about it. Let's see what they do. They're going to play out Luffy. They're going to pop one of my aces there. Seems good. It's unfortunate. They're going to swing 6 and a 5. I think we're going to 2K out of this one and take the next one. Yep, we get a Frankie trigger there to cycle out. In that situation, Kuma would have just been strictly better, or Satori, because we could have trashed one of these aces in our hand. We don't need all these aces. Okay, here we go. They're going to play out Edison and fix their hand a little bit. And, like I said, they're fixing their hand, pass, and good game, right? I mean, this is basically GG, right? Because I don't know if they realize or not what we're about to do to them. I don't think they know. We're going to swing for 7 into face. They're going to 2K, 1K counter out of that. We're going to push the ace back to the Luffy back to hand, cheat him right back out, swing 7 into 5. This would take both cards from hand if they even have it. And now we're swinging for 8. They play out a Lilith. They do a search. They get a 1K counter, but it's not going to be enough. And let's see what they get. Yeah, they had a 1K and a 1K in hand after the search. So that's that. And again, when I talk about how explosive Red Yellow Sabo is, when I talk about going nuclear, this is what I'm talking about. Like, the deck can just run your opponent over. And I absolutely love that about this leader, especially with this version of the deck. Like, yes, you can play a more control style if you want to with Red Yellow Sabo, but this Goa Kingdom version is hyper aggressive. You just punch him in the face, and that's game over. Okay? All right, let's go to the next game. We got a game versus Purple Luffy. So volume is off, speed is on 2x, and here we go. Going to play out the Garp there. Okay, guys, I got the crazy curve this game where it's going to be swing 5, going to play out the Sanji, and then it's going to be fireworks next turn. Next turn's going to be fireworks, guys. The only thing that would have probably made this pull better was 1-cost Nami. If I could have got the 1-cost Nami here, that reassigns Dawn, it would have been so insane. Because it would have been swing 6. Watch this, guys. It would have been swing 6, and then I would have used the Nami to attach a Dawn to my leader to swing 6, and then swing 7 with the Luffy, and pushing that back to life and buffing the Sanji. So I actually could have gone like 6, 7, 8 or something like that. It'd have been crazy. But that's okay. They're going to swing in here. They've lost a lot of cards from hand, guys. They're still at 4 life, but they have 3 cards in hand. They're going to swing for 6. We give them a 2K counter. We're not letting them have that. And now I can actually go on the board. I'm actually in a pretty good spot here, or I could go for face. Let's see what happens. We'll go 8 into 6. Watch this. They do make a blunder there. They only counter out for 2. They needed 3. That card's gone now. I'm pushing Luffy to life. I'm swinging for 6. They gum Giant. They're down to 5 Dawn. I don't know how much I agree with that. This could have been a new player. Let's be nice. We're going to swing in for 9. I think they also messed up with the they gave the buff to the wrong character. I have no idea what the guy was doing. He did say oops after the Gum Giant, though, so they made a play mistake. It's like, okay, it is what it is, though. I'm at a point now in the game where I don't know if they're going to be able to deal with me. They're going to swing for 8 and 8. We're going to counter that, and now, guys, okay. Lord have mercy, right? Heavens to Betsy. This is going to be a tough one here. We're swinging in for 7. We're swinging in for 9. We're swinging in for 7. We're swinging in for 7. There's no way. Guys, I still had 2 more attacks. Understand that. It was going to, so it was swing for 7, swing for 9, and then I'm going to play out the 2-cost Luffy, swinging for 8, and swinging for 8. I'm sorry. There's just no way out of that, even if he had countered out perfectly with that last Gum Gum Giant. But good game to my opponent. They did kind of mess up a few things. Maybe they countered out a little too aggressively at certain points, but it ended up just being a massacre in the end, where it's like, okay, you know, we just had a little too much tempo after that, and that's what one mistake will cause, guys. One mistake against a deck like this, you can completely punish your opponent. But good game to our opponent there. All right, we got 2 more games, guys. We got 2 more games. These are fast games. These are really fast ones. Okay, so the volume is off. Speed is on 2x. And here we go. We got a game versus Red Black Garp. Game versus Red Black Garp. Red Yellow Sabo versus Red Black Garp. We got the new school versus the old school here, right? We get double Nami reassigners down. We're gonna attach all the Dawn to our leaders. Swing for 8. They're gonna take that. They're gonna swing for 5. They're gonna let's see what they tap for 4 here. They have a 4 Dawn turn. Let's see what their follow-up's gonna be. They play out Sengoku, fixing their hand a little bit, filling up their trash with a Borsalino and a Hina, and now they have 3 Dawn left. They're going to play out the 3-cost Hina and pass the turn. They can't remove anything. That's okay. We're going to swing for 7 with our. We're going to play out a 5-cost Luffy here. Swing for 7. We're going to attach 2 Dawn to our leader and swing for 7 more. Absolutely brutal. This is you know, that's rough, right? Now they do counter out of it, I believe. They're down to 2 life. And I have a Kid and Killer in hand, so we're really at a stage of the game where my opponent is just up against the ropes. They're going to be able to remove these Namis, but who cares? They've already done their job. Nami is really only super good for us up until turn 3. Once we get into our 4 Dawn turn, it's not as good, especially going second on 8 Dawn, but going first is still good on our 4 Dawn, or on our turn 4. Excuse me. I meant to say on our turn 4. All right, so we're smashing in, as usual, 7s all day, every day. They're down to 0 life. They just passed. They give up way too prematurely here. This game was not over. They still could have played out. Like this turn, they had 8 Dawn to work with. They could have gone just double Rebecca. So attack into my face, or don't. In fact, it would have been smart to not attack into my face. Like, do not attack into my face anymore, right? Play out the Rebecca, play out 2 Rebeccas to block her up and get 2 2K counters out of your trash. You can even cheat out a Sengoku to do more hand fixing. There's a lot of stuff that could still be done here. And I mean a lot of stuff, because playing out the Sengoku, yeah, if they played out a Rebecca, they could have cheated out the Sengoku with the effect and trashed the other 2 Navy cards left in hand. The 2 Garps, right? Trash the 2-cost Garp, trash the 5-cost Garp. Just get rid of those to cycle through your hand better and go from there. And then look at that. They would have drawn into a Brook. They could have got rid of one of my characters. The game was definitely not over. They left far, far too early. But they were going to be dealing with a very uphill battle from here, because it was going to be like, okay, establish those 2 cards. They probably should attack into me this turn because I have the Luffy on top that I'm going to keep recycling into life. But after that, guys, it's going to be, you know, slamming down Kid and Killers. And if they do attack in, I have access to my aces. It's a tough spot to be in. All right, good game to my opponent. That was a fun one. Now we got one more game. We got one more game to go over today, guys. Yeah, we had 7 games today. Let's go. And this one, I saved the best for last. We got a real banger here. Black Yellow Kyros. This was a fun game. I'm not gonna lie. This was a close one at certain points, because they can, you know, they're black and yellow. They can mess with life. They can mess with the board. So we're gonna swing for 5. We're gonna play out the Sanji, pass the turn. So this was an excellent curve. We have the turn 1 Garp into turn 2 Sanji, into turn 3 we're gonna have Luffy. That is the curve, guys. That is what we're going for every game. We want to go first when we can. The perfect curve is actually Nami, Sanji, Luffy. That is the perfect curve. So that way we can actually life the Luffy afterwards and swing for more on the board and protect our Sanji if needed. But they're going to remove it with a, they're going to use a Hawk Couture Patchwork and use the leader effect to remove my Sanji. That's fine. Here we go. We're going to swing for 5. They take it. Now we're going to swing for 7. Let's see if they choose to take this. They'll probably try to counter out. Okay, they were not able to counter out. Kyros has to use their life to their advantage, you know, with the KO effect, their leader effect. You do want to try to save life when you can, especially life that's face down. So if the life is face up, there's no point in keeping it. You know, you can let it go and draw the card. But when it's face down, you want to try to get full value from that with your leader effect. Okay, here we go. So they played out a core of the Coliseum. They have 5 Dawn left for the turn. They're going to use another Hawk Couture Patchwork and -3 my guide. They're going to play out the Zoro to KO my Luffy. They're going to swing for 5. We're probably going to take that. We're going to cycle out with Frankie. We draw into another Frankie. And here we go. That was yet another example of how Kuma would just strictly be better than Frankie in that situation. But hey, it does happen. All right, we're going to play out the Karasu and swing in for 5. They 2K counter out. We play out the Sanji, and now we're passing the turn. We're going to try to fill our board up a little bit. That's kind of the idea here, is we need to fill our board up. Okay, they play out Laboon. They're going to KO my guy. They're going to play out a Kuzan, pushing my Sanji into life. Now I have to trash a card. I'm just going to trash the ace because I don't have an ace in hand. They're going to swing in for 6. We're going to take that. They'll swing in for 5. We'll probably give them a 1K counter here with the Garp. Okay, we're on a 9 Dawn turn. I don't think we should try to go for lethal or anything like that. And yes, I'm not joking when I say go for lethal, guys. Remember, I do have Kid and Killer in hand. I have the Luffy in hand. I have a 2-cost Luffy in hand. I could have legitimately tried to go for lethal this turn, but we're not trying all that. There's no reason. There is no reason to try that here. At least in my opinion. Okay, we'll see what we choose to do here. We're going to swing 10 into 6. I'd rather just get this out of the way because I'm at 3 life. They're at 2 life. His board is nothing impressive. Like a 4-cost 5K on the board, I could deal with that as soon as he turns it sideways. And I'm at 3 life. Like I said, I'm not at jeopardy of losing. So we're actually doing just fine. And does he want to attack in? Because then I get to swing in with Kid and Killer. It's like, yep, I'll take that. Swing for 7, sure. Okay, they swing for 7 more. I am going to 2K, 1K out of this one, I think. Yeah, 2K, 1K. I don't need the Karasu anymore. They're going to play out a Sabo, and now I can start going at their board again. Okay, we can just keep going for the board now. As long as there's a character for me to swing into that's sideways, we can go into it. We are going to swing for 7 into 5 with Kid and Killer. Let's see what they choose to do. I think they choose to block and 2K counter out here. No, I think it's on the next turn. There's something that happens where I was like, dude, I don't think you're respecting what Red Yellow Sabo can do enough here. But hey, that's okay. All right, so here we go. Looks like we're going to play out. I've got 5 Dawn left for the turn. Let's see what I choose to do. I think I should swing for 6 first. Okay, we're going to swing for 7. And then maybe play out a blocker or play out the Luffy. We'll have to see. We swing for 7 into 5. It was this turn. So they block and 2K counter out. And now I say, well, okay, well, now you just lost your blocker. I'm going to go 8 into 6. Does he want to give me 2 cards from hand? Well, he does have 1 Dawn open. Maybe he potentially had like Barrier or something like that. I don't know. Whatever the case, you know, that card's gone. Hey, if he wants to swing into my Garp, you know, be my guest. He's going to go 7 into 4, draw a card with that Lucy. That's very good with the Court of Coliseum. It's a dress roasted card, so it can attack in, you know, with the Court of Coliseum. Very nice. They get to cycle out of life and draw a card pretty much. They swing for 5 into 5. I think I'm going to counter out of this one. Doing some counting here. I'm going to counter out of one of these and then take the other. But this is where things get ugly, right? This is where things get really ugly. They're going to swing for 7 into 5. They have 2 Dawn left. Now your board is completely vulnerable, right? Their board is completely vulnerable, and I can just go for lethal potentially. Okay, let's see what happens here. We're going to swing for 7. They counter out, and they still have the 2 Dawn is active. And right here, I have a change of heart or something. I'm like, you know what? Well, they have two cards left. I could probably win the game right here. So instead, I'm actually just going to go for their board. So it's like, you know what? Why even go for lethal? I can't lose. I can't lose in this situation. So I'll go 9 into 7. I'm a 2,000 power. I have 7,000 power on my leader now. You know, I'm fine. And I think at this point they do choose to. I think they do get rid of my Luffy, but there's not much left in this game. Let me tell you right now. There's not much left in this game. Okay. They're going to play out a Rebecca. Going to grab back a 5-cost Sabo. I do remember that. So I'm about to show it on the side, I think. And remember, guys, we are in 2x speed. My opponent's just taking their time here. They're trying to make sure they make the right play. They grab back a Sabo, which is a really nice play here. You know, they attach some, you know, I think they attach the final Dawn to their leader, and they attack in for 6 into my Luffy, because they can't even attack into my face. I'm at 7,000. We give them a 2K counter, and here we go. Right here, it looks like they can probably survive 1 turn, but at what cost? We're going to go 7 into 5. Yeah, it was a later turn I was thinking of. They attack in, or they end up countering out of that attack as well. It's like, man, this guy has no respect for our guy Sabo. So we're going to go 6 into 6 here. He saves it. Just kidding. Right, going to go 7 into it. We'll push that card back. I've got a 7K and 8K on the board. They drew 1 card. It's a Viola, by the way. Yep, see, there it is. They draw into a Viola for the turn, and that is a wrap. Good game to my opponent. That was a fun one. All right, that's it, guys. Let's go ahead and bring the deck list back up one more time. I think Red Yellow Sabo is probably in the best spot it's ever been in. Red Yellow Sabo is in the best spot that the deck has ever been in, and it's about to get even better in OP11. And if you're trying, and if you don't know, if you're asking like how good is it into green purple Luffy or blue purple Luffy, the answer is it's very good into both. It's like a 50-50 matchup, which, I mean, what more could you ask for against like some of the best decks we've ever seen? Not just in the format. These are some of the best decks we've ever seen, right? So it's like, okay, if it's 50-50 into those, I think I'll take my chances and try to just outplay them. But yeah, and maybe try to make some adjustments to the list to figure that out. And like I said, going into OP11, we're going to have access to this card right here named Zeus, and that's going to allow us to do even more tomfoolery, total shenaniganery, skullduggery, right? Good stuff here. Really looking forward to what RY Sabo has, has in store in the future. And I keep hearing these rumors. Guys, tell me what y'all think in the comment section below if y'all know anything about this. But I keep hearing these rumors that OP13 is going to be 3 brothers focused. Is that true? If that is true, guys, let me get real close to the microphone. I'm going to be very happy about that, right? But hey, I don't know. I don't know if it's true or not, but that'd be really cool if OP13 focuses on the 3 brothers. I would love to see some like legitimate support for Sabo, which, I mean, don't get me wrong. We've been getting some support for Sabo. This card right here and this card, in my opinion, and even this 2K counter chopper, I think these cards are incredible for what we're trying to do. So yeah, good stuff. And again, and of course, also the Zeus coming out. So really good stuff for RY Sabo. Very promising looking future so far. We'll have to see what happens. But yeah, that's all I got for you guys today. Hope y'all enjoyed. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Let me get the outro page on here. Hey, thank you to everybody who supports the channel, guys. Whether you're liking, subscribing, sharing, commenting, viewing, whatever you're doing to help me out, I really appreciate it. Using my TCG player affiliate link, donating through Patreon or PayPal, and guys, for anyone who supports me through getting the playmat, YouTube members, Discord community, it all adds up, guys. It's incredible to see. Really appreciate each and every one of you. All right, I'm done. Don't forget to stop by the stream tonight if you get bored, guys. We will be streaming starting at 9 p.m. Eastern, going from there. We usually finish around 12 a.m. Okay, so that's it. Hope y'all enjoyed. Till next time, guys. Peace.